live. Pre-apologize about the signal. It's not the greatest signal up here, but we will figure that out. There's a hard wire, so I'll have to just kind of do that for next time. But I wanted to show you guys a little bit of the property. So these are the woods behind me, and it actually goes like 8 acres back. That is the guest house, and that's kind of one little, empty patch, I guess. I don't know. It's really, it's honestly kind of a culture shock being here. I think after being in Los Angeles for 3 years, I really missed the woods. My kind of scenery is rivers, lakes, ponds, and woods, basically water and woods. And last night I went to bed and I started spinning, like my energy, like it almost made me nauseous, the spinning. And so I tuned in to the energy, and turns out I was actually just picking up on the vortexes that are spinning here. And it was funny because I saw 4 vortexes, and it actually bleeds in a little bit to the neighbor's property. And they were all spinning in different directions. And that will actually create kind of disharmonic energy. So I didn't have the time or the energy or the strength last night to transmute them, so I just shut them down. I basically shut the vortexes down, so the energy here is very neutralized. But the other word that comes up with this space is magical. Like, it literally feels like the woods, feels like the land, the property, even the structures, the organic gardening beds. It just feels really magical here. And I just want to give a shout out to the owners. They're not fans or watch my content or anything, but the previous owners who really built this place, they set us up. I mean, they set us up with new sheets, new pillows, a new mattress. They set us up with, shampoo and everything in the showers. They really set us up, especially since, right now Canada, Ontario especially, is on lockdown. They kind of knew that we were coming with nothing. So that was really incredible. And I also want to give a huge shout out to all of you, especially the members, this membership and your support every single month. Obviously your good vibes and your love, but also just that $10 per month has allowed me to basically buy this property. So it's because of all of you guys coming together, and this community and this sort of support. It really blows my mind, and you helped this dream come true. And I feel in so many ways indebted to you guys for that. And I am going to do everything in my power to make sure that all of your dreams come true and you live your best life, and everything that you've ever wanted, the real things that you've wanted, that love, that harmony, that 5D vibration, that frequency, that gratitude, the abundance, the opportunity, anything that you've ever wanted. I am here to help you realize those dreams, help you make those dreams into reality, because I feel that. I'm on this land and I feel that. And you have helped me get here, and I am going to help you to take you the rest of the way. I do want to say too that being in this sort of space, say it was very similar with Joshua Tree. Having this space allows me to tap in. It allows me to channel. Having my team, having Lauren, working for me, having Nat working, having Emma working together in this team, in this unity, allows me the time away from emails, the time away from admin stuff or graphic design, and the time to really tune into the frequencies. So I've already written down so many notes and so many different basically downloads that are coming to me while being here, and I have so much to share. I'm really just trying to take it one step at a time. So huge gratitude to all of you for being here, supporting each other, supporting the awakening at a collective level. It's really incredible. And you guys all have amazing questions today. We're going to be talking about the elements, Doreen Virtue, a June energy update. We're going to be talking about the total Earth reset. Lots of talk about reptilians and shapeshifters. And also, we're going to be talking a little bit about the truth behind Skinwalker Ranch. I don't know if you guys know it, it's pretty popular. So, we're going to be diving into that a little bit today as well. Yeah, so so good. And once again, sorry about maybe the spotty internet connection. Hopefully it's fine. And let's go ahead and dive in, shall we? So, first question here from Vanessa Sweeney. Have you ever channeled the elements? Earth, fire, water, and wind. If not, can you? Hearing from the sun was so interesting. I would love to hear from the elements. Fantastic. So, I communicate with water the most, I would say, and well, I would say I've communicated with all of them, but mostly I communicate with water. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that I am a Cancer, but I will mention that each one of the elements on this planet does have a consciousness to it. And just like the representation of the big body of water, like the ocean, versus a drop of water or the water in your water bottle, it's all the same. So very similar to humans on planet Earth and our collective versus individual consciousness, the elements have the same sort of vibration going on. They have a collective consciousness as well as an individual consciousness to them. So let's tune into the elements. Let's see what kind of messages need to come through with the elements. I don't think I've ever channeled the elements on a video before, so I thought this was a very fascinating question. And what a perfect place to channel them. So let's go ahead and see what they have to say, if they have a message for us as humanity, or just, I don't know what they're going to mention. But let's see here, 1 second. Okay. Okay, interesting. So the first element that comes up here is wind, or air, I guess. Air would be the element. So it's really funny. So I'm telepathically communicating with this collective body of energy being air. And I'm translating the messages obviously through vibrations, telepathy into English. So I just want to like relay that. So air comes through first. Definitely not an element that I feel very connected to, but it called itself something. Air called itself a carrier. Air, I guess, called itself the carrier. Yeah, the carrier. And I'm like, what do you mean by carrier? Why are you calling yourself the carrier? And air was talking about many things like pollen in the air, or seeds blowing and creating new life, or it was talking about carrying sound through the air. It was talking about carrying energy as well. And then it showed me this image of it kind of looked like a huge gust of wind coming and hitting me, like my body, but then taking some old energy with it and moving the energy through my body through this kind of like an energetic gust of wind. Yeah, it was so fascinating. So air is calling itself the carrier, and air is saying that anytime you want anything moving, movement, carrying, yeah, like movement, flow through your body, really to call upon the element of air, which is something that I would have never personally thought about or done in the past. So it feels like it's almost like the purpose of tapping into the elements is to get a little bit of a to get information or tools on how to access or utilize these elements, right? So fascinating. All right, let's move on. Let's see what other elements want to come up and what they have to say here. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, so the next element to come up here is earth. I think that's the element. Yeah, earth, like ground. So funny because immediately the image of a crystal came up, and I was like, a crystal isn't an element. And then I'm like, oh, but the crystal, the rocks are the earth, right? Part of the earth. So fascinating. I want to also say that earth, like earth energy, like ground energy, feels masculine. Okay, I know that like the earth itself is very divine feminine energy as a planet, but the element of earth grounding feels like an old man. Like, I don't know how else to say that, but it feels like this older, like very sacred, like it feels very indigenous, like a very like an indigenous grandfather. That's what it feels like. Earth energy is like that masculine grandfather energy. And Earth was talking about showing me images of like trees and plants growing from the earth, showing me an image of like a human having like sitting on the ground and like having their hands in like dirt, you know? Obviously, there's that grounding element. Earth was also showing me like stones and crystals coming from the earth, being portions of that consciousness. And I said, okay, Earth, like, what can you teach us as a human species? And Earth basically called itself the observer, and it gave me this image. It's so fascinating. Of it was almost like an image of being in the woods, okay, and you're the ground, you're the earth, and you're looking up. Like it almost felt like I was laying down, right, in my human body, looking up, and it was such a beautiful perspective too, because you're literally seeing everything. Like you're the ground, you're looking up, you see the long trunks of the trees, you see the wind swaying in the trees, you see the sky, you see the birds chirping, you see the little insects crawling over you. So Earth was saying that it is the ultimate observer of this planet, the ground. And you know, you don't really think about the soil observing you, right? That's never really crossed my mind. I would say that I have thought about crystals observing us, right? You know, we're looking at them, they're looking back at us. Very fascinating. Very, very fascinating. Okay, cool. Let's move on to another element. Yeah, 1 second. Okay. Okay. So the next element that comes through is water. And the first image that I saw of water was a rainfall and me standing in the rainfall, but then also being a part of the rain. So beautiful, so fascinating. Um, and what else? Oh, yeah. Okay. So the other word that came through with water is replenish, replenish. Like it's like the replenisher. It's replenishing. And then it showed me like the cycle, not just replenishing the land and replenishing us as humans, but also other animals and creatures. Like water is just this ultimate element. And then it was also talking about the cycles. So water is really directly connected to replenishing and cycles, which is really beautiful. And thank you so much, Michelle, for that super chat, and everyone else today who has super chatted, Sharma, and the others. And thank you, Michelle, for that beautiful message too. It's yeah, it's just beautiful. I don't know. I don't have words. Cycles and replenishing is water. And if you think about it, like even like the water that we drink has been recycled over and over and over again since the time of the dinosaurs and before that. And it's so interesting. There's something that just came through. When we drink water, it's great that we put intentions into our water because we get back whatever we put into it, right? I mean, that's very clear. But also think about water, especially the fact that we are water beings and we're like 90% made up of water or something crazy. When we drink water to release the water an hour later or what have you, we can also think about the cycles. It's almost like we can release emotional, vibrational, energetic cycles by taking on water, by drinking water and release and having that cycle move through our body as well. Like there's an even like deeper or wider net that we can cast when working with water. And I'll leave it there because I could go on forever about water. Okay, let's move into fire. Last element here. 1 second. Interesting. Okay, yeah. Okay, so when you think about the element of fire, obviously we all think like fiery and like angry and but that is not the vibration that I got at all. I didn't really feel a strong masculine or feminine presence from fire. Sorry if you can hear my stomach growling. I don't know why. Fire had the most surprising soft frequency to it. Like soft. It's so funny when I tapped into the element of fire, it felt so soft and almost like warm and loving. And it's also cool too because fire was divinely the last element that came through and fire was telepathically telling me that it has all of the aspects of all of the other elements, like for the air and like moving that energy. Fire does that. Fire moves energy, like a fire ceremony or burning your cord cutting letter in a fire. Fire was also saying that it was a connector, a communicator as well. Fire is also representation of replenishing and the cycles, right? Very similar to what water does. Fire can also be very grounding depending on how you work with it. But there was one kind of energy that fire had above all else, and it was its own energy, which was, hold on, I have to get it back. It's like fire has this energy of new beginnings. That's what I feel like. It's like there's so much energy going into every flame, that it's like constantly this new beginning. And it reminds me of like when you look at a light, right? A light that's turned on, electricity in your house. And you're like, oh, well, that looks like one consistent light. But as a matter of fact, billions, if not millions or trillions of little electrodes are going through that light, flickering at however fast per second, to make it seem like to the human eye that it's a consistent light that's on, but it's not. It's flickering electricity. And at the end of the month, you get a bill for all of the electrodes that go through that light. Fire is very similar. We look at it and it looks like it's one thing, one harmonious thing, but it's not. It's like this constant explosion of energy, very similar to the sun. And the overall energy around it was like kind of this new beginning. Like it's just new beginnings in every little millisecond of the fire. And that's why working with flame energy can be very powerful, very impacting. Thank you so much, Karina, for that beautiful super chat. I'm going to move on, but that was a great question. Thank you, Vanessa. It was great. Okay, So, Danielle Elizabeth Lee, can you channel what is up for the people who are going from spiritual and open to Christian and pretty closed about things? For instance, Doreen Virtue, who did those past life oracle cards that you have, is uber spiritual now and denies the validity of everything she ever wrote about spiritual prior to her Christian awakening. This is so interesting. So, a couple years ago, I don't know when she made the switch from spirituality to Christianity, but I ended up finding, I think on her website, like an A to Z list of all of these spiritual concepts, right? And it was like kind of like a corrections list. So it was everything that she ever talked about before translated into Christianity. So, like, past, for example, like past lives. She's like, past lives aren't real and they're actually an illusion from the devil. And that's probably not what she actually said. But this list on her website was so mind blowing that she went from like really on it about the truth to like really, really far off. And she was calling things like entities and devils and demons and stuff. And it was just really surprising. I think in so many ways, I would call her soul. I don't like ever using the word sacrifice, but it almost feels like she sacrificed a little piece of herself, her truth, for this lifetime to show spiritual individuals, people, that this it's possible to swing into the other direction, and this is what it looks like. I think that also there's a bit of a tie there in Christianity, of to show Christian people, hey, spirituality is the devil, right, or what have you. Very, very fascinating, her contracts in this lifetime. I did tap into her energy, whatever, years ago when I learned that she turned over to Christianity. I saw that, leave it, guys. It's not the ultimate truth. This is just my interpretation of what I saw, okay? With Doreen Virtue in particular, this is also not the case for every spiritual person who goes Christian. I saw that it was actually an attack. It was a partner that she ended up falling in love with or what have you, and he was very Christian, and basically he turned her into Christianity, and she was very vulnerable at the time. It really reminded me of the reptilian shapeshifter boyfriend that I had years ago. And he told me, you can't practice what you do. You can't have clients. I don't want any, people over in your house or in your office or whatever. Like, he really suppressed and manipulated what I believed in and twisted a lot of things. And what I channeled years ago was that's exactly what happened with her. It was actually a psychic attack. And unfortunately, the dark side won. But how can you say that the dark side won when that was already in her contracts, right? So it's tough to say that the light wins and the dark wins, because we are all maintaining the free will that we were given as a soul. So anyway, my overall opinion, I guess, around spiritual people who turn Christian is it's just something that they need to learn. I find personally that I've had many, many clients throughout the years come from heavy, heavy Christian backgrounds into spirituality. I have had a few cases of people who are very, very spiritual going into Christianity. Very rare, but it does happen. And in those cases, what I tend to find is they have to go back into Christianity or some sort of form of religion, based around fear, usually, of blank, whatever it may be. And that usually dictates and correlates to a past lifetime that they had as, a Catholic or Christian individual or what have you, and they had to re-experience that Christianity. Typically they get pulled back out of the Christianity, back into more of an open-minded spiritual view, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they go back in to explore, to clear. They don't end up clearing, they end up creating more of that karma. It is always up to you whether you want to deep dive back into a past life energy and stay there and potentially get stuck there, or to deep dive into a past life energy, maybe even the energy of depression, and get yourself out of it to say, I am stronger now because of this. It's always up to us. If there is something in your life right now that you don't really feel like aligns, or you feel like, wow, I really got into, I don't know, archery, and now it's not really my thing, you always have the choice to say no and to change your choices moving forward. Can't change the past, okay, at the service level, but you can change the decisions and your reactions moving forward. So always keep that in mind. But great question, Danielle. Thank you for asking. Okay, Allison B., can you check in on what is coming in June? Several spiritual teachers are mentioning it, but no one seems to be giving any ideas of what it could be. Thank you for always being beautiful and the wonderful you. Thank you so much, Allison. Okay, so back in December, I believe, potentially December, January or February, the Galactic Federation mentioned that something was coming in June. I don't know if you guys remember that. I don't remember if it was in a Galactic Federation message or if it was just on my YouTube channel, but they literally specifically said something was coming in June of 2021. What is it? What is it? What is it? They didn't say back then, and they are literally not saying now. However, I do have my Galactic Federation live event coming up June 11th. If you haven't already gotten your tickets, definitely please get them now. We increased our Zoom room so you can come live. Two best things about coming there live. One is you get to meet other people from all over the world and really connect with them and even send them private messages. And two, the vibration and energy of you being in your time zone, chilling in your living room, connecting to this Zoom call with not only thousands of people from all over the world in the same headspace, but also having someone bring in that energy live is really amazing. Like, it's really next level. So I really recommend live. If not, obviously, if it's like 4 a.m. your time, get the recording, right? But I asked the Galactic Federation, what is the theme for June? What is the theme for June? Like, what is the theme of this Galactic Federation June meeting? And they said change. The theme is change, right? So we are going to deep dive into that theme of change in the GFL meeting. So that's happening on the 11th. It's almost the first, I think, now. So we're going to kind of see what they mean by that. And what that may look like. We already see so much change, so many shifts happening on a global level right now at this time. Like, we're really getting, and I just got chills, we're really getting to that peak point. I just don't know what's going to happen after we get to the top of the roller coaster. You know what I mean? I really don't. So hopefully they can give us some insights. And I'm getting chills again. Like, I really feel like could be like, could be behind the scenes, could be like secret white hat government officials, like it could be disclosure, could be a lot of things. So I'm really excited. Thank you guys for the super chats. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Sharon. So much. Thank you, James, for those super chats. Yeah, I'm super pumped. So we're going to get into June energy in June with the GFL. Yeah, that's going to be great. All right. Next question. Okay, Daphne Smith, the thoughts of a complete Earth reset, where the power grid goes out and a life without any currency seems so wild to me. I can't even visualize what it would all look like. Can you offer your perspective on this a little bit? Without currency, how would we achieve all the things we want we would normally buy? If the power grid went out, what would life look like? Okay, so I want to say that every time I've ever seen the power grid going out, it's usually always because of some sort of solar activity, either a solar flash or there's like something else called like a cosmic, I want to almost say cosmic tsunami, but it's not. It's like a different sort of cosmic energy. It is also an electromagnetic frequency hitting the planet. I had a great conversation in February of 2020 with an astrophysicist, an amazing man. And yeah, I had a great conversation with him about this cosmic wave hitting the planet. The information that I received, I relayed to him. He basically was corroborating and validating all of the information that I received from the GFL. based on his research, which was really incredible. So from what I have seen, okay, and there are infinite numbers of timelines, and I really haven't received much about it. But I also am planning being off the grid, solar power things, I'm planning on getting to a place where I can be off the grid, basically, and I hope that a lot of us are planning that too. However, for you guys who are in the cities, who have families, who are in the suburbs, I want to let you know that I've never seen the power going out for longer than, I would say longer than 3 weeks. I've never seen, like in any of my visions anyway, I've never seen the power going out for longer than 3 weeks. That being said, if you could imagine even 3 days of the power going out having cataclysmic effects on our whole system, stock market, like you name it, it would be pretty horrendous. And thinking about the fact that it could also wipe out the information that we have within the grid, okay? So, so it's not necessarily the length in time, it's the deeper impacts that it could potentially make. So just keeping that in mind. And then also the currency reset, same sort of thing. I've definitely seen currency reset. I've never seen it being completely wiped out because there still needs to be a structure. If all the currency was wiped out, it would be absolute chaos. So things are going to shift. Things are going to continue to break down, but there are new solutions in play when things break down. New solutions really come up, if that makes sense. So I don't really have an answer for exactly what that would look like, but I would like to ease your mind a little bit and just say I do recommend getting prepared in general, in all of the ways. And then if nothing happens, fantastic, you're already prepared, no big deal. If something does happen, you're prepared and your family is safe and what have you. Okay, so interesting question. We've got a couple questions here about reptilians and shapeshifters. Let's get into it. Zen Jen, does Queen Elizabeth realize she is drinking tortured children's blood? Does she know she's a rep? Or is it just her astral body that knows? Trying to figure out if their human knows they sold out to a reptilian, or if they were born as one, or if it's all happening in their astral body only so that their human is completely oblivious. Okay. Okay, great. Zen Jen. Like, how would we know if we ourselves are reptilian shapeshifters? It's a great question, Jen. I just want to also relay one more question about reptilians below because it kind of correlates. This is from Brooke N. Can you give us more details and updates about the progress of the war against the evil reptilians that is occurring? And then another question, one more question, Angie Cope. I always have so many questions and then I forget them when it comes time to ask. One that comes up for me a lot is, when celebrities sell their souls to the reps, do they know it on a conscious level or is it a soul contract? Right? I mean, so you guys are basically asking the same questions. It's a little bit of everything from what I've channeled, and I've channeled a lot of different dynamics with reptilians and shapeshifters and all of that. Okay, where do I even begin? When we talk about Queen E, all right, there was a point in time where she was a human. Okay, let's just say there was a point in time where the queen, was a human, and she had higher than normal reptilian DNA within her, and that was it. Then there was a point in time in her lifetime as queen, probably right before she got crowned as queen, where she had to go through what I call a blood and sex ritual or a ceremony. What this ceremony does is it opens up a portal in your body to invite an entity, another soul, a reptilian, okay, basically into the body. And this ritual consists of really horrendous things. Let's just leave it there. I don't want to get into it. And once again, the horrendous acts that happen in these rituals open up a low vibrational portal in the body, and you have to invite something in, okay? You have to invite it in. It doesn't just happen. However, we can also pre-invite things in within our soul contracts before we even get to this incarnation. It can be very complex because there's so many different variety of options, let's say. Queen E and the royal family, okay, they all know full well what is going on. They are not disillusioned whatsoever. Within the pyramid, okay, there are a couple rows down. They work very closely with these individuals. And I would say that certain celebrities are on par with the royal family. No, I would say that most celebrities are a step down from the royal family and the other six families that rule the entire world. You know, you guys know the six richest families in the world who own everything, who basically control the entire economy, okay? Them and the royal family are at the top. Boom, neck and neck, all right? They are the ultimate, like, teeth, gross reptiles, okay? The celebrities, politicians, the face of their system, they're below, okay? They are all, that section of individuals, of shapeshifters, they are all aware of their shapeshifting capabilities and of the contracts that they signed. The reason why, and I've really gone into this in the past, is they also had to go through a blood and sex ritual. Now, the messed up thing about these rituals is they film, okay? It's like a giant cult is really what it is. It's really wild. It just blows my mind how the information is out there, but just how locked down this stuff is. Basically, when a celebrity, politician, whatever, basketball player, right, whatever, is going through to sell their soul, that's really, truly what they do. They say, I will exit my body, or I will take a back seat in my own body, and I will allow you to use my body for fame, riches, whatever, right? Okay, so when they do that, they have to agree consciously. It has to be conscious. It has to be conscious. It has to be conscious. They have to say yes with their free will. They have to. That is going against the laws of the universe. But unfortunately, many human beings, because of the manipulation within society, many human beings are willing to say yes to sell their soul for riches and fame and shit that does not matter. Doesn't matter. I will tell you that these rituals are really messed up. Okay, really messed up. And the majority of all of these rituals are filmed. The reason why the rituals are filmed, okay, is because it's blackmail. If and when, and it always happens, these celebrities and people who are at this lower level, okay, than the top elite, if and when, which happens often, they say, you know what, this is really messed up, and this is actually not what I wanted to sign up for, and I've kind of made my fame, and I want to get out. I want out. I want out. Guess what happens? They're either killed in ritual sacrifice, or they are exposed. The blackmail, the videotape, the whatever gets out, and there's no escaping, basically, right? They know that they have done some very lewd acts within the ritual, agreeing to this, sign their soul away, and upon doing so, that's all filmed, and that can come out basically later on. So, I will say though, as far as like, how do we know if you're one of them? There are human beings who have high amounts of reptilian DNA in them because their father was a part of that, which is way more common than we would think. And you'll never, maybe you have some shape-shifting tendencies, but it doesn't mean that you're a bad individual or your soul is corrupt or evil or what have you. Okay, so that's also very common to have high amounts of hybrid DNA in that way. And then I also want to mention that it is kind of common, I guess, for there to be what I call temporary possessions of the body, okay? And that basically means that a reptilian soul can hop into a human body and take over it temporarily. In that way, the human usually never knows that that's happening. Maybe they start drinking more. Maybe they feel more depressed. Maybe they kind of black out for a couple hours per day. Most of the time, the human is completely unaware of that temporary possession, and sometimes the possession lasts longer and they're still unaware of that. So there are many different cases. At the top of the pyramid, they are all full aware of who they are, of what they did, of the choices that they made, and basically of taking part in those rituals, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, so let's go. Last question here, and for those of you who are just tuning in, be sure to rewatch this video. Really great questions here, just about a variety of cool things. Last question here is from Jacob Avsenkana. Okay, I'm not even going to try doing the last name. Okay. Hi, EA. I would love to know about the Skinwalker Ranch. There's some strange activity going on there and a lot of UFO sightings. They have made a show on the History Channel about the ranch, but they really don't seem to get any real answers. Can you tap in and share the backstory with us? Okay. So I have tapped into Skinwalker Ranch before. I actually ended up meeting the current owners of Skinwalker Ranch, because right now they're doing, well, they used to do anyway before quarantine and all of this. They used to do speaking, right, different alien events, and I was doing the same kind of speaking circuit that they were. So we ended up meeting. They're young. I think they're like two young kind of cowboy looking guys. Really good vibe, actually. They have a really great energy to them. So we all kind of hung out and were talking about things. So I don't really know what's out there with Skinwalker Ranch. I think Nat and I watched a documentary once about Skinwalker Ranch. It's very, very famous. If you haven't already watched it, watch some of the television and documentary content out there. I did tap into it because I was just curious. Basically, it's a plot of land where, I mean, so many stories have been heard. Some of the most interesting stories that I found when watching this documentary was, what was it? Oh yeah, a giant wolf, kind of like a wolf dog that pops up there, that shapeshifts. Anyway, there's a lot of stories there. So what I channeled about it is there's a giant portal that's on the land, and the portal is a low vibrational frequency. So so a lot of entities, a lot of beings, a lot of UFOs will actually pop in and out of the portal above the property, and it's a hotbed for UFOs because they travel through portals on this planet. It's how they get from point A to point B very quickly. So yeah, so they pop in and out above it. Doesn't mean that they're really connected to the land at all. Just means that they're able to access that high energy kind of zone. And then also it's a hotbed for even like Bigfoot and I don't know, just weird shapeshifter dogs and things. There's also like very traumatic indigenous energy that's there as well. And that's not helping. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Samantha, for that beautiful super chat. I love the quadruple digits there, and that was really generous of you. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, so here's a bit of my tiff, okay? I don't know, I don't ever use that word. But here's a bit of my issue with Skinwalker Ranch. It's very, very similar to my issue with mediums. Not all mediums are like this. I've met many, many beautiful mediums. And also, here's my issue with like paranormal activity TV shows. I have been offered to be on probably like 10 different paranormal, ghost hunting television shows. And I do mediumship, and I think years ago that's where the collective consciousness was at. Was like, okay, cool. We're open-minded enough to say ghosts do exist, and let's catch some activity on camera. Not my thing. The reason why it hurts my heart a little bit is a lot of mediums, and I've talked about this before, and also at Skinwalker Ranch, it's like it's been a place of like tourist attraction and entertainment purposes and television shows and whatever. But who is actually going to help clear the land? Who is actually going to talk to these poor tortured souls to say, what do you need from us? I just feel like a lot of those things is like, let's show up and use you as an entertainment or a tourist attraction, but let's not help you. That's messed up. Like that, like really, like it makes me sick to my stomach just thinking about it. And it doesn't, I'm not saying that that's what's happening at Skinwalker Ranch, because I don't know the history enough to say that they have or have not tried to help the land. And I think that these guys that are there, they have a good vibration. I hope that they're trying to help the land. The problem is, okay, with some of these TV shows or some of these tourist attractions that are like ghost or like haunted attractions, if they brought in a medium or an energy worker like myself to be on the land to clear the ghosts and the spirits and the energies and the bad vibes and to transmute the portal, guess what? What if they lose their entertainment value? What if there's no more freaky incidents because they've cleared the land? They've crossed over the spirits. Now all of a sudden their money maker is, it's no longer. I don't know, it just makes me really like, just, it feels gross, you know, to think about it that way. Once again, I can't say for sure that that's what's happening at Skinwalker Ranch, but who has been there to actually help to clear it? Now, I will say, though, a couple friend of ours, Nat and I's, they're lesbians, they're super cute, and they're like hippies, like super hippies. They have their own CBD like product line. They're like really good vibes. And they owned like, I don't know, it was like 100 acres, and it was like the Four Corners, I think it's called, and that's in like kind of the edge of Colorado, somewhere around there. Gorgeous, gorgeous plot of land. They had this huge ranch, and it was very, very, very similar to Skinwalker Ranch. Like the amount of stories that they had there, like they had, and they did everything. Like they brought in every single shaman, they brought in indigenous healers, they brought in energy workers, they brought in, like they did everything. They did salt, they did crystals, they did sage, like you name it. They tried to clear the land. They were there for, I think, only a year to try and clear it. Their business went downhill. Like everything went to shit when they were on that land. And it was like, it was kind of like a secondary, and obviously not as popular, Skinwalker Ranch story. And they had shamans leaving the property saying, I will never come back here. That's how messed up that land was. And I think they did a lot of work to clear it, but they had to leave eventually. And I also want to mention too that sometimes it's not as easy to just clear and transmute a portal and say, yep, work's done, bye. You know, so I don't want to be ignorant and say, well, they're not trying hard enough. There are varying degrees of what you can and cannot do. Of course, I'm over optimistic and say, you can clear anything with energy, and I still really believe that. But I do want to just be compassionate to maybe they are trying. So as far as Skinwalker Ranch is concerned, it's a giant portal. It's a hotbed of activity. And maybe we add that, actually, Lauren, okay, if you're listening, please add that to the list of portal clearings. And I've been kind of adding your suggestions as well to where in the world we should be clearing portals. And I'm sure that we'll get back into that once we've really settled in and I've set up my office and what have you. I mean, right now, it's going to be probably these kind of videos. But I will say that the membership area of YouTube is going to be changing. Really exciting stuff coming up. Sharma and I are working very hard, very diligently on the VAX course. I'm super, super excited about that. There's probably one more video that I want to do with that. Check out my podcast, Expand, on Spotify, iTunes, whatever. There's a brand new Expand episode that just got released. And yeah, so the Vax course, we're still planning probably mid to late June. And then the Audible will be coming out in, I'm thinking maybe July, maybe August. It's getting edited right now. So a lot of exciting things, but for the most part, this is the most exciting, is just having all of you guys here on this beautiful plot of land. Yeah, I'm gonna play in my garden today and do some archery and throw some axes and play some fetch with Abby and do some yoga and build a fire. And I mean, that's my day. That is my day. So so grateful, guys. Thank you all for the super chats. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for being here. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you for being a member. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for helping my dream come true. And, you know, like I mentioned before, I am here to help you guys realize all of your dreams and live your best life. And I hope that my presence in your life has done that. I hope that you watching my YouTube videos has shifted you in some way, has unlocked your DNA. I hope that my book has resonated with your soul. Yeah, I just hope that I can give back as much as you have given me. And it's amazing how uncrazy I feel. It's amazing to have all of you here and we're all together saying, we are not alone. We are standing together in sovereignty. We are opening our minds and we are willing to utilize our conscious free will to benefit the collective. And it's happening, guys. We're here for a reason. The change, the shift, it's taking place. We're not waiting for something. It's now. It's here. And we are together. So bye for now, and I'm sure I'll pop in for another Instagram live video. If not, another membership video coming your way. And I think I have a couple more premieres that are coming out too. So have a beautiful rest of your Sunday fun day, and yeah, make sure you get out and you enjoy nature and you take the time to be with yourself and journal and relax a little bit, because being human is difficult. Bye, everyone.